Hello, everybody, and welcome to the rebirth, I guess we can call it, of Sports Select Sports Talk. You see the graphic right beside me. It's been a long wait, but hey, the show is back. And just with a new host. I look the same, but I swear I'm a very, very different person. As you can see, the show is a little bit different. No table whatsoever. I'm going to try and stand and do the show as long as I can until my knees give out. I'm only 23, so hopefully that's another 1 or 2 years, maybe. We'll see. The inaugural guests on the show, big honor. We've called in the women's hockey team from the University of Manitoba. KRISTIN Cockeril, she plays forward for the team. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Very well, good. And head coach John REMPEL. John, well, how does it feel? You know, first guest.
I am truly honored. I can't even tell you. I'm speechless right now.
Well, that's, I'm flattered. I really am. So I guess my first question goes to you. Just basically your thoughts on how the team's playing so far this year.
It's been kind of an up and down start. A pretty young team and quite a bit of turnover. A lot of players playing in different roles than they probably were in the last year or two, the returning players. It's always a growing and learning process to kind of fit new players into the program and have them understand what it is that we're trying to get out of them, I guess. For the most part, though, teams played pretty well. A lot of close games. Just trying to clean up some areas right now that are probably causing us some issues. But for the most part, playing quite well. So, I'm pretty happy with where things are at right now.
And you've said before, Canada West, not really much room for error, especially with the level of competition that there is there. And you also talked before the season about some of the recruits that you've brought in. How are they performing at this point?
I think it's been good. The transition's been good. I mean, Jessica Carswell has been a really nice surprise for us. She can really skate, and she's chipped in offensively a little bit. And Lindsay Blight is starting to get a little more comfortable on the blue line and getting a little more responsibility. And Kaylee Wientz was injured for a while, but she's really starting to kind of get the feel of things as well. So those three in particular, I think, have made a good transition. And as you say, in Canada West, it used to be probably 2 or 3 teams that really were legitimate. Now there's 5 for sure, probably 6. And there's no room for error every weekend, for sure not.
And so that's the view from behind the bench. I'm curious to know from on the ice. KRISTIN, your thoughts on how the team's playing so far this year, and maybe some of the things that are going on the ice, maybe communication-wise. How are things going this season?
So far it's going okay. I think I agree with John. There's little areas we need to improve on, but overall it's going pretty well. I think the team's starting to gel kind of as the last few games have gone on. And the rookies are starting to settle in. All the roles are being filled, so that's going to help us later on. And I think the effort's there. We've had a lot of close games, like even last Friday we outshot Lethbridge but couldn't win. It's things like that. I think it'll come. It's close. The ball's rolling. I think it's going all right.
And you guys won Canada West last year. And I mean, it sounds like a pretty obvious question, but it takes time to get into the season to really feel it, I think. Targets on your guys' back, do you think? Either one of you can take this one.
Yeah. I mean, when you've been to, and I don't say this arrogantly, but it's the fact, when you've been to 7 straight Canada West finals, you've won 2 of them, and you've been to the Nationals 5 times, there's a target on your back. It doesn't matter what kind of personnel you have on your team the next year. And we lost six good hockey players that really helped us in the last couple of years, and particularly last year. So there's always a target on your back, and nobody is going to feel sorry for you depending on your situation and depending on whatever it is. So you have to come out and play and compete and do the things every week that are going to help you be successful. So yeah, sure, there's a target on our backs for sure.
And do you feel that when you're on the ice?
Yeah, definitely. I think some of the teams that maybe used to be weaker, but now they're a lot stronger, they have no mercy when they play us, because we do have that target on our back, and we're known to be so successful in the past. So they just kind of have at us, and we do the best we can, and we're doing okay. But yeah, there's a target there.
I would bet. I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on the issue that's gone down with the men's hockey team this year, with Alberta coming in with the review and getting the win. And John knows exactly where I'm going with this. But basically, your thoughts on that. There was the issue last year with Calgary. You guys having, you guys had won the shootout, but that was taken back. Shootout replayed. Calgary ends up getting the win. I guess from a mentality standpoint, having that extra point taken away from you, what kind of things might be going through the head of the Bison men's team, even though they've moved forward a little bit now?
Well, I mean, I certainly can't speak for Mike and his crew. I mean, I know how Mike felt about it. I think he was pretty clear in the interviews that he did about it, how he felt about it, and I agree with what Mike said. There's the rule, and then there's the spirit of the rule. And when opposing teams and opposing coaches take advantage of a rule to gain an advantage and don't really live up to the spirit of what it's supposed to actually be like, that's where I have a problem with, and that's why I had such a problem with it last year. You know, you can talk for hours here about philosophy and about what's more important and what kind of example you're setting for your players and all that kind of stuff. So I think when a coach and a program does that kind of stuff, I don't think it's a good example to set for your players, because that basically tells me that it's a win at all cost mentality, and sometimes there's more important things to think about and try to teach your players than winning at all costs. So that's what that boils down to for me, and it doesn't look good on the program. And you know, I think Mike and his guys will use that as fuel for the fire when they play Alberta next. I can guarantee it, and I think that's happening in a couple weeks. So, you know, they'll put it in file 13, and it'll come back. Those things usually come back to haunt teams when they do stuff like that, and I hope in this case that the boys there take advantage of that and make that happen.
Okay, and you talked about lessons for the players. I guess, KRISTIN, that this comes to you. In terms of, you know, how you guys moved forward from that. It happened to you guys a little bit later on in the year when playoffs were in the back of your mind. Obviously, one game at a time, we've all heard that cliche. Mm-hmm. But, you know, playoffs might have been in the back of your mind at that time. How did you guys kind of, you know, the shootout happened, and that shootout was played before your actual game against Calgary. How did you guys move forward from that and kind of just, you know, be like, you know, past is the past?
Well, it was tough. I think there was a whole chain of events that went on with Calgary and their people, their coaches and whatnot. Things didn't go well, and we did have the shooter at the start of the game, and I think there was just so much passion and negative energy going on that we kind of had to calm down. And John did good calming us down, saying, let's just play the game, do the best you can, but it was tough. It's just so emotional when stuff like that happens, and it goes back to the spirit of the game. And when stuff like that happens, it's so wrong. Like, you shouldn't start a game with a shootout. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't get how that should have happened, and it was bizarre. And it just kind of throws you off. But I think we all did good getting back and getting centered and saying, okay, that's done, it happened, let's move on, fuel for the fire for next time. And then come playoffs, we eliminated them. So that was very satisfying, I think, for the team.
I bet. And you talked about moving on. That's exactly what we're going to do on the show here. We're going to go to a new segment we call the Playbook. Now, we got Coach John Rempel here. And John, your team, you've sometimes described your team as defensively sound, and you know, you said this year you're probably going to be a bit more offensive. But for coaches that might be wanting to teach a more defensive style of game, maybe not the 1-3-1 of the Tampa Bay Lightning, yeah. But what kind of drills can they do? Show us on our little board here, just kind of little drills to kind of work on maybe defensive positioning.
I'll just switch with you. Well, I mean, you know, there's a myriad of things you can do. You know, we work a lot on 5-on-5 in-zone coverage. So what our system this year is, and it's a pretty common system, is box and one. And really what a box and one is really in the defensive zone is, using my finger as the telestrator. You know, it really is man on box behind, in our case, woman on box behind, but wherever the puck is, it's puck pressure with one person with 4 players in the box protecting the house, which is the area in front of the net there. We work on that stuff a lot. We also work on a lot of confined space drills down in these areas around the goal line, net zone coverage. This is an area that's actually a problem area for us this year right now. With rebound control and these types of things, and clearing rebounds and that kind of stuff. So we work on a lot of stuff where we do confined space, maybe a 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3 out of the corner, or 3-on-3 down low below the ringette line. A lot of confined space stuff where it's just a battle type of mentality, where it's, you know, physical stuff where people get in that mindset. Sometimes we'll pull a net over here and a net over here, just 10 feet apart, and we'll throw 4 people in there and keep throwing pucks in there, and to see who can jam pucks in. So simulating stuff around the net, that sort of thing. A lot of one-on-one stuff up and down the ice, and when we talk about one-on-one stuff, when we talk about defensive play, we always want to eliminate the other team from getting in this area, all right, all over the ice. So anywhere in between the dots is an area that we want to take away, and then as we funnel to the net here, these are areas where you want the puck to go coming to your net, and these are areas where you don't want the puck to go. So we do a lot of stuff where we try and eliminate the middle of the ice, cutting the ice in half, so a team's options are decreased, and that's a lot of type of the things that we work on.
Perfect. All right. Thanks a lot, John Rempel, and KRISTIN Cockerill. We'll talk to you a little bit later on in the season, and we thank you for joining us on the first time on the Sports Select Talk Show. If you want to check out anything to do with the women's hockey team, gobisons.ca. That's the website. You can click on the left side and find their schedule and game recaps as well. For Shaw TV, I'm Mitchell Clinton.